Let your mind journey back to the ancient city of Athens, around 400 BC, during the height of the classical Greek period. The city is a center of art, philosophy, and democracy, a place where ideas flourish and culture thrives. Today you will follow the day of Lysandra, a 36-year-old philosopher and healer living in this vibrant era. Her life is a blend of intellectual pursuits and practical healing arts, influenced by the great minds and diverse knowledge of her time. Let her story guide you into a long, peaceful sleep. As dawn breaks over the city of Athens, the first light touches the Acropolis, casting a warm glow over the Parthenon and the sprawling city below. In a modest home nestled in the quieter part of the city, Lysandra awakens. Her room is simply furnished, with walls adorned by tapestries depicting scenes from nature and philosophy. She rises from her bed, made of a wooden frame and layered with woolen blankets. The air is crisp and carries the scent of olive groves and the distant sea. Lysandra takes a deep breath, embracing the stillness of the early morning. She moves to a small basin where she washes her face with cool water drawn from a nearby well. Her morning routine is one of quiet reflection. She lights a small oil lamp and offers a brief prayer to Athena, the goddess of wisdom, seeking clarity and insight for the day ahead. After her morning rituals, Lysandra dons a simple chiton, a traditional Greek garment made of linen. She ties it at the waist with a braided belt, allowing the fabric to drape elegantly over her form. She wraps a hymation, a light cloak, around her shoulders to keep warm against the morning chill. As she prepares to step outside, she hears the faint calls of street vendors and the distant clanging of metal from the blacksmith's forge. Athens is waking up. Lysandra heads to the Agora, the central marketplace and the heart of Athenian public life. The Agora is not just a place of commerce, it is a hub of social and intellectual activity. Philosophers, merchants, artisans and citizens gather here to exchange goods, ideas and news. As Lysandra walks through the bustling market, she is greeted by familiar faces. She is known in the community for her knowledge of philosophy and medicine, and many seek her counsel on matters of health and the mind. She makes her way to a small stall where a vendor sells herbs and medicinal plants. Lysandra carefully selects bundles of sage, thyme and lavender, which she uses in her healing practices. She also picks up a jar of honey, known for its soothing and antiseptic properties. As she negotiates the price, her mind drifts to the patients she will see today. Her role as a healer is both a science and an art, blending the teachings of Hippocrates with her own observations and experiences. After gathering her supplies, Lysandra heads to the Stoa of Atalos, a covered walkway lined with columns where philosophers often gather to discuss and debate. Today she joins a small circle of thinkers, including her friend Thales, a fellow philosopher. They engage in a spirited discussion about the nature of the soul and the concept of balance in life. Lysandra listens intently, her mind working through the ideas being exchanged. She offers her own insights, drawing on her experiences as a healer to speak about the connection between the mind and the body. The discussion continues for over an hour, with ideas flowing freely, each argument carefully considered and countered. It is a mental exercise that sharpens her thoughts and expands her understanding of the world. The agora around them hums with activity, traders haggling over prices, artisans displaying their crafts, and citizens engaged in lively conversation. As the sun reaches its zenith, Lysandra takes leave of her philosophical circle and makes her way back to her home. The streets of Athens are lively, filled with the sounds of daily life. Children play games in the dusty lanes, their laughter echoing off the stone walls. Women carry baskets of bread and fruit, their faces shaded by woven hats. The scent of roasting meat wafts through the air from a nearby tavern. Back at home, Lysandra prepares a simple midday meal. She slices bread made from barley and tops it with fresh figs and a drizzle of honey. She pours a cup of watered-down wine, a common practice in Athens, to ensure hydration without the effects of pure alcohol. As she eats, she takes a moment to reflect on the morning's discussion at the Stoa. The ideas explored there linger in her mind, mingling with her thoughts on the patients she will see in the afternoon. After her meal, Lysandra gathers her healing supplies, bundles of herbs, clay jars of salves and oils, and a small mortar and pestle for grinding ingredients. She prepares her small courtyard, transforming it into a space for healing. In the center, she places a low table covered with a linen cloth, where patients can sit or lie down. Around the edges, she arranges bowls of water, incense, and a few sprigs of lavender to create a calming atmosphere. In the afternoon, Lysandra opens her courtyard to those seeking her healing skills. Her first patient is an elderly woman named Callista who suffers from joint pain, a common ailment among those who have spent a lifetime laboring. Lysandra greets her with warmth and guides her to the low table. She listens attentively as Callista describes her discomfort, taking note of her symptoms and her daily routine. Lysandra prepares a poultice using crushed thyme and honey, known for their anti-inflammatory properties. She applies it gently to Callista's aching joints, her hands moving with care and precision. As she works, she speaks softly, offering advice on simple exercises and dietary adjustments that might alleviate the pain. Callista listens, her face relaxing as the poultice begins to soothe her discomfort. Her next patient is a young man named Demetrios, a soldier who has returned from a recent campaign with a deep gash on his arm. Lysandra examines the wound carefully, her eyes narrowing as she assesses the risk of infection. She cleans the wound with a mixture of wine and water, the alcohol serving as an antiseptic. Demetrios winces at the sting, but Lysandra's touch is steady and reassuring. She applies a salve made from myrrh and wraps the wound in clean linen, instructing him to keep it covered and dry. Throughout the afternoon, Lysandra sees a steady stream of patients. Mothers with children suffering from fevers, farmers with back pain from toiling in the fields, and even a poet troubled by insomnia and restless thoughts. Each case is unique, requiring not just medical knowledge, but also an understanding of the individual's life and circumstances. Lysandra listens, observes, and applies her skills with a blend of science, empathy, and wisdom. As the sun begins its descent, casting a warm golden light over the city, Lysandra takes a brief respite. She sits in her courtyard, sipping a cup of herbal tea made from the same sage and thyme she uses in her remedies. The air is filled with the scent of herbs and the faint sound of the agora in the distance. This is her moment of solitude, a time to gather her thoughts and recharge. She reflects on her patients, considering the treatments she has administered and the advice she has given. In her mind, she balances the knowledge she has gained from Hippocratic teachings with her own experiences. The practice of healing, she knows, is as much about understanding the person as it is about treating the ailment. Her rest is brief, for the day is not yet over. As the city prepares for the evening, Lysandra gathers a few scrolls and heads towards the Lyceum, the school founded by Aristotle. Although Aristotle himself has passed, his teachings and the institution he created continue to thrive. The Lyceum is a place of learning and discussion, and tonight a symposium is to be held. As dusk settles over Athens, Lysandra arrives at the Lyceum. The gardens are filled with students and scholars, their voices carrying the excitement of intellectual exchange. Torches are lit around the courtyard, casting a flickering light on the statues of gods and philosophers that stand watch. Lysandra finds her place among the scholars, sitting on a stone bench under the open sky. The symposium begins with a reading of poetry, verses that celebrate the beauty of nature and the complexities of human existence. Lysandra listens, her mind drifting with the rhythm of the words. After the reading, the discussion shifts to the nature of ethics and the pursuit of the good life, topics that resonate deeply with her own philosophical inclinations. As the evening progresses, wine is served and the conversation becomes more animated. Lysandra contributes thoughtfully, drawing on her experiences as both a philosopher and a healer. She speaks of the balance between body and mind, the harmony that must be sought for one to live a fulfilled life. Her words are met with nods of agreement and thoughtful silence, for they echo the teachings of great thinkers while also adding the depth of her personal insights. The symposium lasts well into the night, the discussions weaving through various topics: politics, love, the nature of the cosmos. It is a celebration of the mind, a gathering of those who seek to understand the world and their place within it. Under the canopy of stars, Lysandra walks back to her home, the city now quiet and bathed in the silver light of the moon. The streets are empty, save for the occasional guard or stray cat prowling through the alleys. Athens rests, its day's bustle replaced by the serene silence of the night. Back at home, Lysandra extinguishes the oil lamps one by one, leaving only a single flame to light her way. She changes into a lighter garment and lies down on her bed, pulling the woolen blanket over her. Her body feels the weariness of the day, but her mind is at peace. She closes her eyes, the events of the day playing softly in her mind, the thoughtful discussions at the agora, the healing of her patients, the spirited debates at the Lyceum. It has been a day of purpose, of fulfilling the role she holds dear: the philosopher, the healer, the Athenian citizen. As the night deepens, the sounds of Athens fade away, leaving only the gentle whisper of the wind through the olive trees. Lysandra drifts into sleep, her breathing slow and steady, her mind easing into the quiet stillness of the ancient city. Tonight, as you listen to Lysandra's story, let it carry you to a place of tranquility and reflection. Let the wisdom of the ancient world guide you into a deep and restful sleep. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and allow the peace of Athens to embrace you.